Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. So this time I want to pour the Terra Flower technique again. And I've mixed my resin. I'm using here the Art Pro resin from the Resin Pro company. I poured 20 grams each into each cup. So I'm preparing 3 cups and I'm starting with my white. The white are the pigment drops from Etta Art. Yeah, there was a bubble at the nozzle and I'm going with 3 drops for 20 grams. Yeah, I need to be careful because this bottle is having a leakage, but it's still half full and I still want to use it, of course. My next color is an alcohol ink and it's from Octopus Fluids and it is the Lucky Green. I'm also taking 3 drops and I love this green. It's a wonderful green tone. And for my next color, I'm using, sorry. I was doubting. I'm putting some of the interference pearl to my Lucky Green. So that was the next step. I'm sorry. Sometimes when you do the voiceovers, it's really hard to remember how did I do it, because even though I put grams in my cup, sometimes I don't remember my steps. I need to see and revisit the video. But my next color is a metallic silver and it's a floating silver and I think it gives nice effects. I don't know if I mentioned that I didn't let my resin sit. Last time, it's one of my very first pours of the Terra Flora technique. I let my Art Pro resin sit for 20 minutes, 25 minutes before I was mixing my colors. And this time I didn't let it sit at all. And I want to see if there's gonna be a difference and what effects I can achieve. So I'm mixing all my cups very, very well so that there's nothing happening, that I don't have any specks or any traces in my resin piece, because especially when you use powders, mica powders or white, like here the pigment drops, it can easily happen that you have those little dots or those little specks or particles in your resin piece. So this is now the Lucky Green, and combining this with the interference pearl, it gives such a beautiful sheen. You see it here. I really love this. I'm a bit sorry about my voice. I don't know what it is. I suppose it's tiredness. I didn't sleep well in the last night, so yeah, I guess it's often like this when I'm not sleeping well that it really affects my voice as well. Anyway, I'm taking now my mold, and the mold is the S size of the round geode tray mold. It's 15 centimeter in diameter, 8 millimeter deep. In total, I mixed, how much did I mix? I think 180 grams of resin roundabout. So you have an idea what I'm doing. So I'm filling my mold now that the bottom is covered with my clear resin a little bit more, so like there's a third of the mold filled with the resin. And then I'm taking my dotting tool and I'm just going along the edges so that I get rid of the bubbles. Yeah, there are always a few bubbles, but it's okay. It's starting to get warmer now, so I don't have as many bubbles as I would have in winter. It's normal, and I really like it because sometimes I'm too lazy to use the bubble remover machine, and yeah. Anyway, so I have my next color, and I'm really saying I think it's the Lagoon from Octopus Fluids. It's a wonderful color. Really love it. And look at this. It's also an alcohol ink. It's no resin ink. So I'm starting to play a little bit around with the alcohol inks. Octopus was so nice like 2 years ago and sent me all their alcohol inks. And yeah, I've never really used the alcohol inks because I was mainly focusing on resin inks. Now I'm using the Lucky Green and I'm just going randomly in my mold. And then I can grab my clear resin, and like I did in previous pours, I'm just pouring a little bit around with my clear resin. You see it there. And I think using clear resin, it really helps to get a different shadings also and to achieve more depth. That's what I think. But yeah, I still have not tested it if I really need to do it. But well, it's what I'm thinking, and I think it gives nice effects, but I'm not 100% sure if it really makes a difference. Anyway, I'm taking my silver now, and like I do with the Terra Flora technique, I go in a spiral first. So you see, I'm just going around, till I'm almost at the edge. I try not to get at the edge, but yeah. So you see, I just use also a little bit more of the silver than I did in my previous pours. So it's still also playing around a little bit to see when I use a little bit more pigments, what's the difference if I don't wait, if there's any difference, and etc. etc. So look at this color. This green is beautiful with the sheen of the interference pearl. I really adore this color. And I'm also going in a spiral just on top of my silver. And yeah, it's such a beautiful color. Really like this. Yeah, and I'm sorry for the dog that was barking. It's a neighbor's dog, and sometimes he's barking, barking, and barking. And it's funny, like, because there's a fence between our properties, and sometimes Gary is just watching him. And last year, when we had Gary new, he was just watching the dog, and then after a while, when he had enough of him barking, he just went with his paw through the fence and just hit the dog, and the dog was so shocked, and it was so funny to watch. It was like, shut up, you dog. Anyway, so now I'm taking my white and I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm going in a spiral, and yeah, I also pour this time a little bit thicker, just to see, yeah, what is the outcome. So I'm very curious, and I like about this technique that you really let your resin flow, that you let it do whatever it needs to do to get some awesome effects, hopefully. I like this color scheme, and now I'm taking my rest of the clear resin and I'm just pushing out the colors a little bit, not too much, because I want to achieve this little webby effect, but around I want to have these nice effects. Somehow it's a little bit like a reverse web effect, this technique, but you get different effects normally at the edging. So I'm very curious how this is gonna turn out. Here's a time lapse where you can see how the resin is moving. It's always so interesting to see. And I'm just popping some bubbles, and that's it. So, and this is after it almost stopped moving, and look at these colors and the silver, the silver also sucked the colors, the green and the blue lagoon. It's really beautiful. So I'm very curious how this is gonna look like on the other side. But Well, I need to wait 24 hours, but I was, I think, not patient enough. I demolded maybe 15 hours later, and you see it's still a little bit bendy, but I can take it out of the mold. And I'm so curious. And you see a lot of silver on the pouring side, but this doesn't matter. And let's have a look for this result. I'm so curious about it. And look at this. It's completely different from my previous pours. I think because I didn't wait and let my resin sit. But look at these effects. These are really beautiful cells and I really adore this. I like the color shading and I like this tiny incy web effect in the center. I'm glad that I didn't put any stones in there because then, yeah, I can see how much depth this piece has and all the beautiful shadings of the blue, of the green, the silver, the pearl. Yeah, I really like this piece. And I'm showing you, of course, also the end result. And look at this. This has such a beautiful 3D effect. I really love this. Anyway, I wonder what you think about this pour. And with this, I love and leave you. I thank you for watching. And please take good care of yourself, guys. Bye-bye.